Hello guys, welcome to day 4 of month 2. I hope everyone is ready for today's lecture. Right. So for today's lecture, I want us to talk about async programming. Async programming and background tasks. We did talk about this last week. I think on Wednesday or Thursday in the final week of month 1. So today I want us to just revisit this concept. Right. So async programming is just asynchronous programming, right? So in the Python tool that we're going to use for async programming is called Async, right? Called Async. This is the Python tool that we're going to use for async programming. Right. So before you can memorize the code, you guys should focus on the idea first, right? Once the idea is clear, the code will make more sense, right? So the word asynchronous may sound complicated, but the main idea is simple. Sometimes a program starts a task and then has to wait. It may wait for a website to respond. It may wait for an API to send information. It may wait for a file to download. It may wait for a database to return records. Right? During that waiting time, the program must be able to work on another task. So asynchronous programming helps Python use that waiting time more effectively. So asynchronous programming is very common in real software systems, right? From calling APIs, downloading files, sending emails or notifications, just to name a few. Almost all of these use asynchronous programming, right? So these tasks often spend more time waiting than calculating, right? So that is why asynchronous programming is useful for them. It is especially useful for input and output tasks, right? So input and output tasks, right, are often called IO tasks. So remember this stands for input output tasks. You are going to hear this more often in the programming world, IO tasks. So this just stands for what? Input and output tasks, right? So examples of input and output tasks include receiving information from an API, reading a file, communicating with a database, or sending information across networks. Right? Those are just the basic examples. So let us first understand how a normal Python program runs, right? So normally Python runs one instruction after another. So this means that the next task waits for the current task to finish. Right? For example, let's say we have our function task 1. right? And another function task2, right? Then we call it task1, and then we call task2. So we all know that in order for task2 to write, in order for task2 to run, right, Python needs to run task1 first and finish executing task1, whatever is inside this function. When it's done executing that, then it will now move on. Move over to what? To task2. We still remember that Python starts from the top going down, correct? So I think asynchronous programming helps us with that, right? So now are we all still together? We're all still together, right? Okay, great then. So now the problem with this running task 1 first, then moving over to task 2, right? It's not that Python cannot perform the work. We know that it can perform the work, right? The problem is that the program spends time doing nothing whilst it waits, right? So imagine someone working in an office. They send a document to the printer, right? And the printer takes, let's say, 3 minutes to print something. Would it make sense for that person to stand in front of the printer and do nothing for those 3 minutes? No, it simply does not make sense, right? In those 3 minutes, that person can be writing an email, making a phone call, or preparing another document. So this is the main idea behind asynchronous programming, right? When one task is waiting, Python can allow another task to continue, right? So async programming is very useful when tasks, right? When tasks spend time waiting, right? So I think programming is useful when tasks spend time waiting, right? So asynchronous programming allows a program to pause one waiting task and continue with another task, right? So this does not always mean the tasks are running on different CPU cores, right? Most of the times the task will be running on the same CPU cores, right? So this just means that Python can switch between tasks when one of them reaches a waiting point. So async programming is excellent for tasks that wait for external system, right? So any questions so far about asynchronous programming? Anyone with a question?
Yeah, I can check the chat. Mr. Kumida sent something on the chat.
On the chat. Okay, let me check. No, I'm not seeing anything on the chat.
Oh, I asked you, does it simply help multitask? That was the message.
Oh, okay. Yes, it does. It can help you multitask, do multiple things at the same time. Okay, great. So we all understand what asynchronous programming is. Okay, so we say that we're going to be using what? Async of what for asynchronous programming in Python, right? So in order to use async, we need to first what? Import it, right? So we need to first what? Import it using the import keyword, right? So this tool async, it gives us tools for creating, running, pausing, and coordinating asynchronous tasks, right? So I want us to look at four important parts for today. So it's going to be async def, await, asyncio.run, and asyncio.gather. Right. I want us to look at these four important parts. So async.def, right? It creates an asynchronous function, right? Await pauses an asynchronous, it pauses an asynchronous function, right? And asyncio.run, it starts the asynchronous function. And asyncio.gather, anyone with a question? Or it was a mistake?
No, I think I'd left because of network.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So asyncio.gather allows several asynchronous tasks to run together. Right. Right. So, okay, let me remove our import from here and put it here. Right. So let's create what? An async function. Async def great student print okay. Right. The key difference is that before when you created your function, right, you just call it normally like this, the name of the function with what? The round brackets. But an async function, you need to use async.run in order for you to run what? That function. Right. So if I run the code right now, it's still going to print hello student like our normal function, like what our normal function does, right? So here on line 22, async def, here we just what create a function called greet student, and this is the work performed by the async function, right? And then async.run, it just runs our function until it finishes, right? Then we have what we call await. So await is the most important keyword in async programming, right? So it's very important for you guys to understand it and how it works, right? So await tells Python that the current function is waiting for an asynchronous operation, right? While it waits, Python may allow another coroutine, another function to continue, right? So await pauses an asynchronous function, right, without blocking all the other asynchronous work. They'll be running in the background, right? So we normally use the await keyword inside a function created with what async def, right? So for example, okay, I'll combine it with async.sleep. Okay. So wait, in normal programs we use what you call time.sleep, right? So what this does, it just delays the function by a few seconds or a few hours depending on what, right? But if you use this, it blocks the current program, right? In async programming, there's a much better option. Instead of using what the time method, instead of using this method, this method is going to block your code from running. It's going to wait for that function to finish executing, then moves on to another block of code, right? So with async programming, we use async.sleep, right? So async.sleep, right? Okay, let me write a comment. It creates, right, a waiting point, right, where Python can switch to another task, right? So async.sleep, it creates a waiting point where Python can switch to another task, right? So okay, let's say our function is called as send email, just sending email. Await async.sleep. Let's say 3 seconds. Print email sent. So async.run send email, right? So here what happens that this line 27, await isensio.sleep 3, right? This pauses what the email function just for 3 seconds, right? So this word await, it tells Python that the function is waiting, right? So this just tells what Python what the function is waiting. And then async.sleep, it just pauses what the function for 3 seconds. Whilst the function is paused for 3 seconds, another task will be executing, right? So in real world scenarios, you are going to use this await keyword with maybe a request to fetch data from another API, or with a request to load that data from a database, right? Of which it might take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or even 3 seconds. So I just replaced fetching data somewhere with that with the sleep method for 3 seconds. Right. So whilst the Python is waiting, right, that means that Python will move on to other tasks and execute other tasks instead of just pausing and waiting for this function to finish. But in this small example, there's no other task to continue. We're going to add more tasks as we go on. Right. All right. So, any questions so far? Any questions? Yes, Mr. Janga.
Okay, so when we are calling the asyncio, I don't know if I've pronounced it correctly. The asyncio function, we have to. It's mandatory that we append asyncio to run before calling it, like what we did on line 31.
Yes, that's correct.
Right, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else with a question? So, no one has a question. Okay, that's fine. So, let me move on. Right. So, normally, right, when we have a lot of what asynchronous functions, so normally when we have a lot of asynchronous functions, instead of running them one by one, right, we combine them. We create one main function that is going to run what our asynchronous functions, right? So, for example, okay, we have our send emails, right? So then let's create another asynchronous function. Right. Let's say send SMS. It does print sending SMS, right? Okay, let it sleep for 2 seconds. Okay, print SMS sent. Right. Then we're going to create another async function. We're going to call it the main function, right? Right. So here what happens that this main function is the one that controls the flow of the async programming. Right. So this main function does what? It controls the flow of our asynchronous what function. Both of these what asynchronous function. Right. So because using async functions does not automatically mean that our tasks are going to run together. Right. If we await one task and then await another task, they still run one after another. Right. Okay, let me save the code. Let's look at the terminal, right? Now running the code. Right. So the email is what awaited first, right? This code, the email is awaited first, right? The SMS task, right? This one, this SMS task does not start until the email task finishes, right? So the code is asynchronous, but the tasks are still being awaited sequentially. So Python is still waiting for the first task to finish and then move over to the second task. Right. So this is because asynchronous functions, okay, let me write it here as a comment. Asynchronous functions, right, can still run but sequentially if they are awaited one after another. Right. If they are awaited one after another, like here in our main function, then that means Python is going to wait for the first function to finish and then it can move over to the next function. Right. Okay, wait. So let me copy this code. Let me just copy here and paste it here. Right. Now, so using this method of awaiting both tasks, then there's no point of using what asynchronous programming if you're going to wait for the first function to finish, then move over to the second function. Then there's no point of using asynchronous programming. You're just wasting your time, right? So we have what you call async dot gather. Right? Let me modify our code a bit. So we still have the what? The send email asynchronous function. Let's say for email number in range, say 1 to 4. Right? Let's print. All right. Sending email. Okay. Email number. Await essential dot sleep. Let's say 1 second. Right? So let's repeat this here. For SMS number in range 1 to 4. Right. Print sending email. No, sending SMS. Right. SMS number. Await since your dot sleep 1 second. Right. And inside our main async function, we say await since your dot gather. Right? Send email, then send SMS. Right. So I want us to, okay, let me comment this out. Okay. I'm now running the code. Let's look at the terminal. Right? Wait. Where did I go wrong? Wait a minute, guys. Give me a minute. Let's see where I went wrong. It's wait, essential.gathers. Oh, okay, there we go. Right, I'm not running the code. Look at the terminal. Do you guys see that this time Python didn't wait for send email to finish so that then it can run our send SMS function? It ran both of them at the same time. Whilst our send email function was waiting, right? it then moved over to what? To send SMS. It means it ran both of these functions at the same time. So do we all see the difference between this first function and the second one? Do we see the difference? Are we still together?
Sorry if I may to ask, what is the difference between? I'm failing to see the difference between this like from line 46 going upwards. It's similar to what we did last week on day 23. Is it?
Yes.
Like it's the same thing.
Okay, let me do this.
Hello?
Right. Okay, let me comment this out so that you can see the difference. Right, I'm now running this async function, this main function now, right? Look at the terminal. Sending email, email sent, sending SMS, SMS sent. So here Python waited for the send email function to finish, and then it moved over to what? To the send SMS asynchronous function. Right. So here Python.
Wait for a second.
Which one?
It waited for 3 seconds, is it?
Yes, it waited for 3 seconds. Before it printed the email sent.
No, it waited for 3 seconds. It printed sending email, then it waited for 3 seconds.
Yes.
Then it printed email sent.
Yes. So in these 3 seconds, it could have been doing something else, but it wasn't.
Okay.
So that's the difference between these two. Right.
Okay.
So let me comment this out. Right. So I'm now running the code. Right. Now running the code. Look at the terminal. Do you see that is printing? It's sending email, sending SMS, sending email 2, sending SMS 2, sending email 3, sending SMS 3. Right. So it's running them. It's running both of them at the same time. When it's sleeping for 1 second, instead of waiting, it moves over to what? To this to the second asynchronous function. Right. When this function is waiting for something else, then it moves on to another asynchronous what? Function. Do you see the
Okay, can you just run it?
Okay, let's say
there's something I don't want to see. If you could just run it.
Okay, let's say 2 seconds. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Should I clear the terminal? Okay, clearing the terminal. Now running it. Do you see now?
Yes.
It's like they're running concurrently.
It's running both. Okay. Concurrently.
Yes. Compared to this one, whereby Python was waiting for the send email to finish, then move over to send SMS.
It pairs.
Yes. You now get it.
Yeah, email 1 and SMS 1 they run at the same time. Email 2 and SMS 2 they run at the same time. Email 3 and SMS 3 they run at the same time.
That's correct. Okay. So any questions with asynchronous programming. Any questions? Yeah. Yes, Mr. Ajanga.
Yeah, sorry, I'm very sorry, Mr. Kumalo. So kindly just confirm to say um what you introduced to, but from line 44 going upwards, it's exactly the same with what we discussed on day 23 of last week.
Yes, it's similar. It's
I'm
the
doing
same
this.
thing.
I'm asking this for the purposes of.
Yes,
Is it similar or is the same?
it's the same thing. So you are just going with a revision
Oh,
because we're going to use this almost every time when you now work with APIs.
sorry, Mr. Kumalo. What are you saying is the same thing exactly? I'm saying from line 40, from line 44 going upwards. That is the exact same thing what we learned last week. Is it on day 23?
Okay, let's
But
check.
from line 48 going downwards, you introduced that to us today. Is it
Let me
tonight?
check day 23.
Yes. Yes, from import, sync and blah blah.
Wait, here we only talked about just the basics. Okay, yes, this is only the new part. This one. Yes, line 48 to line 63.
Yes. That runs from, or that goes from line 46 going upwards. It is the same as what
Yes,
we learned from day 23, is it?
yes, that's correct.
Okay. Right. Okay. It's okay. Thank you.
So, do we all understand what asynchronous programming is and how it works? Okay, so any question? Okay, so no question. Okay. Okay, so for today, I wanted us to revisit what the asynchronous programming and background tasks. Right. So for month 2, we're just going to be moving what slowly, right? So that you guys can get time to process these new concepts and not feel overwhelmed, right? So for tomorrow, I'm not going to.
True. Month two is treating things are very good.
So tomorrow, I'm not going to have a lecture. I want you guys to just practice with what you have learned since day 1, from month 1 up until now, because next week we're going to be looking at data structures and algorithms. Right? So yeah, it's a whole different topic. It's one of those topics that stress every programmer out there. So for tomorrow, I hope you guys can just refresh your minds, do projects over the weekend. Then I'll see you on Monday. Okay. Yes, Mr. Changa.
Okay, when is the Q&A session?
After data structures and algorithm.
Okay.
So after data structures and algorithms, that's when we're going to get into backend programming. Right. So for now,
Okay, this is not yet backend.
no, right now we're still learning the basics of Python. Oh, actually, oh yeah. So today was the last day of us learning the basics of Python. So next week we'll be focusing on data structures and algorithms. Then we now move over to what, to a Python backend. Right. So with data structures and algorithms, they are built on top of just basic Python, but you won't be learning new Python concepts like Async or functions and all of that. You will now be building on top of those functions, of these asynchronous functions classes. So that's why I'm saying I want you guys to revisit those concepts, especially dictionaries, for loops, and functions, and conditionals. It's very important if you guys can revisit those concepts. We're going to be working with them a lot.
Yeah, there's a question from Mr. Kumir in the chat.
Okay, yes, Mr. Akumbiri. Where is the chat? Oh, okay. I found it. Oh, what about API? Yes, after data structures and algorithms, we'll be learning about backend. So APIs are covered in backend programming. Right. Right. So I hope you guys enjoyed learning the basics of Python. We've come to the end of learning the basics. We're now moving over to phase 2 of our 3-month course. So if there are no questions, this is the end of today's lecture. I'll see you guys next week, Monday.